Hey folks, today we're going to talk about New Mexico. How you draw tags there, what the species are that non-residents can apply for, deadlines, all the things that you need to know if New Mexico is one of those states that should be on your list as a traveling non-resident hunter. And I would strongly suggest that New Mexico gets on your list if it's not already. I've been lucky, I've had many tags in New Mexico, and it's a tremendous place to hunt. Lots of public land, lots of species. The quality of the hunts are very, very good. So, first thing you need to know is don't miss the deadline, March 18th, 2020. Yeah, don't miss that because there's no forgiveness in New Mexico. You either make the deadline or you don't, and don't wait until the last day. Because sometimes websites crash, the servers get bogged down, and you'll miss out. So, before we start though, there's always two tools that we use, and you hear us talk about them all the time. onX Maps, right here on my laptop, and then Go Hunt. They're insider. Their insider articles are just really, really stacked full of information. In fact, their strategy articles are going to have more information than what we cover in this video. But use promo code Randy at onX, save 20% on their app products. Use promo code Randy when you sign up for the Go Hunt Insider and get $50 of credit in their gear shop. Plus, get in the drawing for a Wyoming Commissioner's tag for anyone who used promo code Randy between July 1 of 19 and June 30 of 2020. Again, don't miss the deadline. That's really important because New Mexico does not have a point system. Okay? And that's part of the beauty of New Mexico. No point system. So I've been applying in New Mexico, I think I started in 97 or 98. So 23 years, something like that. If this is your first year in New Mexico of applying, you've got the same chance I do. Because there is no point system. No preference points, no bonus points. We're all in it equally. The downside is New Mexico only gives 6% of their tags to the self-guided non-resident. So, if you think that, I'll just use a unit with 100 tags to make it really easy for an example. 6% of those tags are going to go to the non-residents not using the services of an outfitter. 10% of those will go to an outfitted client. You go in the outfitter pool, you enter the outfitters, I think they have numbers. You put their number in and you are then competing for a different pool of tags. And that outfitter pool can be residents or non-residents. And then the remaining 84 tags, or 84%, go to residents. As non-residents, those of us who travel there to hunt, we're competing for a very, very small amount of tags. New Mexico does a really good job of hosting numerous seasons for species. So they'll do 2 archery hunts, 2 rifle hunts, and maybe a muzzleloader hunt for elk, just as an example. But they're short seasons. So the archery hunts, I think the first one is 14 days long, and the next one is 10 days long. But the rifle hunts are usually 5 days. Boom, boom, boom. And they get more people in the field that way, and they give more opportunity, but you got to have your act together. You got to be dialed in when you get there. And if you get there, you're going to have a lot of fun. And you think about the species that are available for non-residents in New Mexico. We have elk, pronghorn, white-tailed deer way over in the eastern and northeastern part of the state, Coues white-tailed deer down in the southwest corner of the state, mule deer, Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep, desert bighorn sheep, black bear, ibex, oryx, and Barbary sheep. I think I covered them all. As if that's not enough, right? So this situation applies to every one of those species. If some people have a criticism of New Mexico, it's that they require the $65 license. It's a non-refundable, non-resident license, $65 up front, boom. That's a sunk cost. And then you have to front all of your license fees. So you think about this, you're going to apply for an elk tag. And there's two different prices. I'm looking it up here. The standard elk tag is $548. The quality or high demand elk tag is $773. So let's say you apply for one of the high demand units. You got your $65 license, you got your $773 elk tag. You're fronting a lot of money. The good part is that New Mexico turns it around pretty quick. The deadline is usually somewhere that third week of March, this year, March 18th. And we usually find out sometime late April, like April 20th through the 26th, somewhere in there. So they do turn it around pretty fast. Something you're going to see this year is they've changed a lot of their antelope hunts. Instead of having one rifle hunt with 30 tags, they might now have 3 different hunts in that unit that have 10 tags apiece. So if there's 8 tags, 6% of 8 is 0.48. Guess what? No non-resident tag. So when you go and apply, you might get a notification that pops up and says, caution, you are applying for a hunt code that very likely will not have a non-resident, non-guided tag. And that's pretty much any of them with less than 17 tags. So it used to be where a lot of the antelope hunts had 20 or 30 or 40 non-resident tags and they were all one season. Once you start breaking that down into multiple seasons and there's 8 tags and then 10 tags, none of those allow for a non-resident tag when you apply the 6% to it. 6% times 10 is 0.6. Guess what? They're not rounding that up. They're saying you haven't exceeded the number 1 by applying the 6%. So no non-resident tag. That's a big change this year. And what it's going to do, it's going to force a lot of the non-residents into a very small group of hunt codes, at least for antelope. Just part of how it is. No other way around it. So think about this. You're fronting the $65 license. You're fronting the tag fee up front for deer. The higher demand deer is $368. Higher demand elk, $773. All the antelope tags are $283. If you're applying for sheep, they're going to teach you how to write a check. $3,173 is what you get to add and front as part of your application. That'll make you swallow hard. A few other things in New Mexico. They have some amazing youth hunts. Some of the mobility impaired hunts and some of the youth hunts in New Mexico are the best that the West has to offer. There is no age limit in New Mexico. Reading the regulation here, you only have to have completed a qualified or certified hunter education or hunter safety class. You can apply your 10-year-old in New Mexico. I'm not going to get into this topic about landowner tags, but landowner tags in New Mexico are very abundant. They're either ranch only, where you can only hunt the deeded land of that landowner, or they can be unit wide, which are really hard to come by. But those allow you to hunt the entire unit, public or private, that you can get access to. But not going to go into all that. They only do credit card applications. You got to go online. You have to set up an account, establish that account, and you give them a credit card, and the whole fee goes on there up front. There's really no turn your tag back in program that I'm aware of in New Mexico. And now, starting last year there's a lot of antelope hunts that you just go strike a deal with the landowner and you kind of go through them to do an antelope hunt. That's very different than most states. If you do that, you can't hunt any of the public land within that ranch boundary, anything like that. Some strategy things about how New Mexico conducts their draw. They give you 4 choices, but ignore the 4th choice. The 4th choice is something like, do you want to be in a depredation hunt or something? So they look at your 3 choices before they go on to the person in line behind you. So, strategy. I always apply for some crazy hunt as my first choice, and I've drawn it a couple times. And when I say crazy hunt, I mean something where the odds are really, really bad. My second choice is something where the odds are a little more moderate. And the third choice is a hunt code where, you know what? it might not be a glory tag, but it'd still be a ton of fun. That way, if you are lucky and you get one of the really low random numbers, what the heck? Nothing lost by throwing your first choice in there as a really, really high demand hunt. And when you go into the draw, everybody is assigned a random number. And they go to the lowest random number and say, all right, yeah, here's your first choice. And then they keep working their way down. And pretty soon a lot of the first choices are filled and they get way down there and they let, no, first choice, no tags left. Second choice, no tags left. Third choice, oh, guess what? There's still a tag left for your third choice. So you will have people who draw their third choice when others don't draw it as their first choice. And it's just a matter of what random number you ended up with when the computer starts assigning you random numbers. There's a couple stamps you have to buy if you're going to hunt in New Mexico. It's I think one is a habitat management stamp and one is the habitat stamp, something like that. Anyhow, one's $4 and one's $5. Junior hunting license, $15, pretty cheap, inexpensive place to buy a license and have the young people applying. A lot of people like to focus on elk. So they have a first elk season, which is September 1st through the 14th, and then they have the second archery season is September 15th through the 24th. And I'm saying this is the case in the majority of the units, the overwhelming majority. There's a few units that have slightly different season dates. Then they go to either a muzzleloader season in early October or a mobility impaired hunt or a youth hunt, that first part of October. The first rifle season is somewhere between starts between October 15th and 20th and runs for 5 days. And then the second rifle season starts a week later and runs for 5 days. So in New Mexico, rifle elk, most of those hunts are going to be in October. There's a couple that run into early November, but not a lot. Most of their rifle antelope seasons, not all, but most again are in August. So they usually have the early part of August as the archery antelope, and then they have the rifle seasons come right behind that for antelope. For deer, it depends on what unit and where you're applying. The higher demand deer tags are going to have some rifle hunts in November, early November. And then there's going to be some high demand archery hunts in the first half of January. Sheep hunts, your odds of drawing are so slim. I mean, because we have that 6% non-resident cap, just if you want to send them your money and let them sit on it for that long, go ahead. I don't do that anymore. And then the exotics, I used to apply for ibex and oryx. I don't anymore, but they're really fun hunts. If you draw, I have a lot of friends who've drawn those, and you'll have a good time. So remember that your deadline this year, March 18th, go online. What's it called? wildlife.state.nm.us. Anyhow, we'll put the URL right down here. And if you sign up for the Go Hunt Insider, use promo code Randy and get your name in the hat for the Wyoming Commissioner's Tag that we're giving away in early July. And other than that, apply in New Mexico. Hopefully you draw. And if you do, I can assure you the quality of the hunt that you will have in New Mexico is excellent. Because rather than put a whole bunch of people in the field at the same time, their strategy is let's have shorter seasons, but more short seasons, so that when people are in the field, the woods and then the hills are not overrun with hunting pressure. And it makes for a quality experience. And if you've ever looked at the record books, if you're into that kind of stuff, you know that the age class in New Mexico is excellent. Whether it's deer, whether it's antelope, elk, sheep, all the above. Anyhow, good luck. Get your application in and look for your results sometime in late April. Thanks for watching.